Well, there is one topic that I mentioned to you that I would like to just start with. And it's going to affect all of us depending on which direction it goes. And I wish I had a little more, I guess, insight into what the ramifications of this could be. But there is accelerating talk about Fannie and Freddie becoming private again. And I have mixed emotions about this. And I'm surprised that I do, to be honest with you, because
I'm kind of surprised to hear you say that.
I know. Well, you know me well enough to know I'm a real free market guy. So this idea of a government conservatorship just makes me go like, I mean, I didn't like it when it happened. I've always said, Fannie and Freddie should be on their own. They should, be able to do what they want to do. But here's, I think, the caveat for me, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, is we have not seen the opening up of any sort of other private type of funding into the mortgage space. So when you think about pre-2006, I mean, there was all this Alt-A, and sure, there's some non-QM, we can talk about that, but there was so many other sources of revenue that were invested into the mortgage industry. And I thought for that as that started coming back, you would see more and more diversity of products and programs and things of that nature. And it wouldn't matter as much if Fannie and Freddie were under this conservatorship, really taking their direction from FHFA, et cetera. But I don't know. It feels to me now like if they went private and depending on what they did with their products and programs, it could leave a lot of people without funding sources for mortgages. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, we've created content forever. So if you do a lot of content, especially if you're talking about the market, you're going to call some things right. And if you do it long enough, you're going to call a lot of things wrong. So I've definitely had my May 10th moments right. This one we called right. So I'm kind of proud that we talk to people about, hey, if this thing happens, and we talked about it at $1.50, I think, then the stock could do this. And now it's gone from $1.50 to, I think it's close to $10 and $11 today. And not that I can give out stock advice, nor should you take it from me. But if it gets privatized, that stock was running at $50 to $80 way back in the day. So could be a home run, something to play with. Only put money into it that you can lose, though. So excited that we called that one run. I am in the camp that I want it to go back to be private. This is where I put my tin hat on a little bit. I just don't trust that the money that gets printed, and let's be honest, there's a lot of money that Fannie and Freddie do produce. I don't trust, and now we've seen why I'm about to say this. The government doesn't run that great. We've implemented Doge, and Trump's, doing his work there. But even with that, I don't know that that's enough oversight to make sure that all that money stays there for housing and it's not being siphoned for something else that it shouldn't be related to. So some of that's tin hat a little bit from me, but I just don't trust our ability to make sure that the funds stay here. Because one of the things, you and I were talking about the green room, like Pulte's calling on Trump for lower rates, and Trump's calling on Powell for lower rates, and Trump's calling on Powell for lower rates. Curious of your thoughts too. Like, well, what if we just went in and addressed some of those LLPAs down, regardless of what free market's doing on the bond side? You could address affordability overnight like that.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about LLPAs in a second, but let's just stay on what you said about the government siphoning money out of Fannie and Freddie. Like, as a taxpayer, do I hate that idea that Fannie and Freddie generate all these profits and it's going back into the government because the government's the one that bailed out Fannie and Freddie to begin with? So to me, it's like we invested in a failing company that frankly we needed to because we couldn't lose Fannie and Freddie, but now we're getting the returns for that investment, in this failing business. It's like Shark Tank or something, right? It's like, I should get those, the rewards from that. And if that's helping to fuel the government, I guess my question, A, is that a bad thing? And then B, do we really think that if they become privatized, that they're going to lower their fees and lower the amount of profits that they're making so that they can make mortgages more affordable? Like, I don't know if I see that happening.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I love the discussion. It's almost like a debate too, because I guess I see your point from a taxpayer perspective, but I don't trust that it's helping the overall imbalance that we're facing right now. I kind of think it's going to cover other sins that the government's, you know what I mean? So if everything else was ran perfectly and our tax dollars get lowered because of this money that's coming in, Love it. I love the idea. I just don't trust that that's happening. I think it's probably covering other issues. And we still, even with Doge, which I'm a fan of, and I hate, you almost can't even say the word Doge because it gets political. I'm saying it. I'm a fan of accountability with their tax dollars being used. That's all I'm saying. But I don't know if you saw like the story, even last week with Trump, with Doge, there was $100,000 bill at Fannie Mae for a lunch. What are we doing? What are we doing, guys? Do we need to spend $100,000 at lunch? Like, we're in this environment already. And even with the additional oversight, we're still misusing those funds. So to me, whether it's private or it stays in the government, I just want more oversight. I want to be able, just like Tony, you and I have to run our companies the most efficient way possible. And there's a ton of accountability around it if you don't. I want that to be the same for our government. And if Fannie's going to be, privatized or not, I want the same thing, whether they're private or not. I just want them to be efficient. We should be able to make money. I'm a capitalist too, but we could address affordability, in my opinion, with LLPAs, with G fees. I think if they're private, you do have stockholders to respond to, but they want to make money, but they also want to have a fair housing and affordable housing. So I guess that's a long way to say I think you know what I want now, whether that's private or not. I guess that's up to the government.